And with EcoBank, you know that we have business. It's always on a Wednesday morning. Now, let's look at this. Ghana's industrialization has seen three phases, all of which have failed to deliver the necessary numbers in development and employment figures. President Akufo-Addo is hopeful a try at industrializing the country again could deliver the right figures and especially keep the Ghana cedi robust. In the following documentary, Odila Ntiamu asks critical questions on whether the One District, One Factory program or initiative is being implemented well enough and how this will ultimately translate into real development and employment.
By 2016, Ghana's imports alone was some 12.5 billion Ghana cedis. Exports came to some 16.5 billion cedis. But this was mainly because we exported raw materials. In this country currently, exports, well, do not really match much to our imports, since most of the things we import are finished products. So it doesn't really have a trickle-down effect on employment and indeed making money for the nation. Majority of Ghana's imports are, well, coming from China. It's currently at some 12.8%. Chinese items are all over this market. There's not a single other item that you can find that is really made in Ghana. So I'm on a trip to find out exactly what we're doing about industrializing. What are the figures when it comes to industrialization?
In 2010, the share of manufacturing was at a woeful 6.7%. Ghana's industrialization has gone through three phases: the state-led importation, substitution, industrialization, which lasted from 1960 to 1983. It emphasized on public investments and protection of infant industries. The second phase was under the structural adjustment programs of the international financial institutions from 1984 to 2000. Since 2000, the government has concentrated on private sector development, reforms of the investment climate, and adapting to the emerging natural resources boom. Fast-tracking to today, we are at Ekumfi, where President Akufo-Addo launched the first One District, One Factory as part of an industrialization drive for the nation. The $7 million project is a loan from the China Exim Bank. The government of Ghana led the company to China, where the company contracted the loan on their own under the 1D1F program. It's been exactly a year since the launch, and the frame of the company has come up. By the first quarter of 2019, the company is expected to be ready, churning out pineapple juice.
Currently, we are in 15 communities, and each of them is projected to do around 50 acres. Okay, so that will be for the farm, as we saw this morning. The machines have been procured and have set sail for Ghana, and will be in quite a short while. What we planned doing was to finish up the preparatory works on the floor, so that once the machines arrive in the country, they come directly here. So we don't need to put them anywhere before bringing them here. For the factory itself, we are told by the contractor we are about 65% complete.
At the farms, pineapples several hectares have been grown in preparation for the factory. Farmers are being paid 200 Ghana cedis every month, even though their produce are not ready.
Every month, we're buying bibi kakada in front of 200 Ghana cedis. The shepa or they say you abrobenoa na e kan ketenkete doza ne ka na prowing ne we no na ya transit na we ye film tida obeke bia no oyame ayuba na emitimin.
You know, we have a team of about 100 people who we rotate around our 15 current sites, who we are paying 400 every month. And so the system is growing. We see positive responses from the communities which we are involved in.
The Ekumfi Fruit and Juice Factory will also have 1,000 young people at the Nation Builders Corps employed.
So the request we sent to the Nation Builders Corps was initially for about 1,000 people. We are trying to build a group of elite people who can now support other young people who will be coming on board. You know, sustainability is at the heart of everything we are doing here.
In this project, it is clear that the private sector is leading this government's promise.
Today we have recommended about 100 companies to these financial institutions to have a look at and see how they can assist them to bring their factory to life. Foreign financial institutions are also showing interest. I know you remember that not too long ago, about 22 factories were signed MOUs with the China machinery and, of course, that Chinese group for 22 factories. For $400 million was committed to that project. The Indian EXIM has shown interest. The US EXIM has shown interest. And a lot more foreign financial institutions are showing interest in this project.
Information Joy Business gathers is that the $7 million contracted from Exim Bank is not guaranteed by government. All items purchased during the construction and fixtures will be the ones sold should the company fail to pay back the loan. The One District, One Factory follows after the third phase of Ghana's industrialization process.
As 1D, 1F, we are facilitating the whole concept project. So our facilitation role entails that through the district assembly, through Ministry of Local Government, through Ministry of Agriculture, through Ministry of Roads, we provide all the necessary needs of the factory. So for instance, if the access roads here are bad, we'll link up with the Ministry of Roads to ensure that they have a good road. If they have problems regarding compliance issues, Food and Drugs Standards Authority, we have a legal unit. So we make sure that we solve all that problem. This particular project is being sponsored by the Chinese, wholly sponsored, financed by the Chinese. So we only play the facilitation, which is a big thing, because they face problems.
The One District, One Factory policy, like the import substitution era during the 1960s, must look at which imports we do and how the industries can stop them. The project, which focuses on industrialization, was mainly to create jobs at the district level and use raw materials in those places. But this is not what exactly the Deputy Minister for Trade is talking about here. Lee Found Foods cut the sword for a tomato paste factory, but the raw materials will not be sourced locally, at least not for now.
This factory will be producing tomato paste. Initially, there will be some element of import of the tomato paste, but we look very quickly to source as much of our raw materials from local farmers.
The factory, however, will employ 100 people by the close of the year. At Lanti, the developments there are interesting. A Chinese company, the raw materials needed for the production of soy milk will have to be sourced from the 3 northern regions, which is several kilometers from the Volta region where the factory is.
People will go into farming to cultivate the soya bean and also bring it to us for we to buy. So it's give an employment to people who live around, and not only around the place, far from the north, maybe Brunahafo or wherever it is. When they go into production, cultivation of soya bean, we will purchase that for our production.
There have been several calls to properly focus the industrialization drive so that there are no duplications. A typical example is the collapse of the Ayensu starch factory, where poor farmers are owed several thousands of Ghana cedis because of the inactive company.
2 years, people banged their hope on the Ayensu starch factory. So a lot of farmers started growing the cassava. So this year, as the factory has closed down, there are a lot of cassava in the farms. So the Gari people, you say, it's a local market. So for them, when they come to the farm, they only buy a few. Let's say if you have, let's say, 10 acres of the cassava, the Gari people cannot buy all. They only purchase about, let's say, 2-3 roofs.
Just when the factory collapsed, another company was launched in the Brong-Ahafo region, which will also be churning out the same starch. It's against this backdrop that some companies are to receive stimulus packages to keep them still in existence or in business. April this year, 20 companies were shortlisted for 140 million Ghana cedis injection, but that is yet to hit the accounts of the benefiting companies. The companies are expected to pay back at lower interest rates compared to the prevailing market price. Government in time past and the current one have come with several institutions to promote industrialization and provide technical support for businesses. The MBSSI, for example, goes around various companies to provide technical support.
Currently, the government has had an agreement with JICA, the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, and we come out with a project called Kazan. And the Kazan itself is continuous improvement. So what we do is, government comes to, or NDSI comes to a company like Kulinu, and we do what we call enterprise diagnosis. Enterprise diagnosis is a fact-finding sort of situation. We try to find out the state of the enterprise as we meet, and after that we come up with improvement activities.
The Rural Enterprises Program, 1D1F, Stimulus Package, GIPC's One District, One Exportable Product, Industrial Park, Private Sector Development, Youth Enterprises Support, SME Unit at the Trade Ministry, Factories and Inspectorate Directorates, and the NDPC are some of the government agencies and programs tasked to increase Ghana's fortunes when it comes to industrialization. The effects are yet to kick in and show in employment figures and the general development of the country.
And now be it for AM Business. Please stay glued with us. We have more for you. We'll be discussing the fallout from that great premiere we had, Who Killed the Judges, our latest special assignment documentary put together by Raymond Aquam, the great production work that was done by our team right here at Multimedia or JoyNews. But please stay with us. We'll also give you a gist of what the comments have been on social media.